This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, getting you ready for today's sports day.
3 of the first 4 games have been at home, so at some point in time you're going to have to venture outside the 806, so that'll start this week.
While having a little fun along the way.
Always good if you can blame it on somebody else, right?
Yeah, sure.
Especially some media guy.
Sure. Right, some media guy.
Catch the show live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
I just heard this little ditty of a song right there, and all of a sudden I remembered my last dream of the night last night. My last dream of the night last night, I was
Careful. Is it something that should be shared?
Yeah, it's shareable.
Okay. I didn't say it was shareable. Should it be shared?
I was going to mow my yard, and then it started raining. And I said to myself, I've done that before, but I really don't want to mow in the rain today. So that was that. That was the end of that dream. So anyway, so there you go. Riveting, right? Riveting.
You are an interesting fella.
That's what they tell me. Mm-hmm. I don't know sometimes how to take that, but I feel like
you're definitely not boring.
Well, that's good. That's good. I feel like I'm, unique some days. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm a regular dude some days. Man of the people. Mm-hmm. And then some days I feel differently about that. Hey, how about the Texas Tech men's golf program, Jamie?
Just keep rolling.
They just keep rolling. The number 1 ranked Texas Tech men's golf program, this is from the Tech release, used a large charge to down the University of Oklahoma 3.5 to 2.5 in the championship match of the Big 12 match play event. So good for them. They went to the 17th hole, and the matches were all squared. Each team had 2 points, but the Red Raiders prevailed. So that is really, really cool. This week's Big 12 match play event was the final of 4 fall events that the Red Raiders will play. They'll return to action for the spring portion, February 8th through 10th. At the Amir Ari, hosted by the University of Hawaii. Okay, so that's a pretty good road game for them. Going to Hawaii. That's February, Hawaii. Yeah, it just makes sense.
I think Coach Sands will enjoy the trip.
Yes, and
and his guys.
Yeah, yeah. This from Jay. He says that was a great story, Mr. Hines. Okay. Well, stand by, Jay. There's more to come, but I just...
Yeah, I bet it won't be the last personal story from Chuck we hear today. That's just my guess.
It might be. There may be a day that I come in here and don't share one thing with you, and then won't that...
Anybody buying that anywhere in the world looks around, sees no hands raised.
It just may be. Okay.
You're a sharer. That's okay.
I'm a sharer.
That's what makes the show go.
Makes the show go. I was wondering what makes this show go. Some days it's like, man, that was something.
It may go straight to the tank or the gutter or whatever, but it goes somewhere at least.
What did you share at the dinner table with the children yesterday about yesterday's program?
I wasn't able to have dinner with the children last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you couldn't.
I didn't share anything.
Nothing to share.
Nothing to share.
Nothing to share. All right, but anyway, it is pretty cool to say top ranked, number 1 ranked, blah 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 blah. Texas
especially
Tech
at the end of the season.
Right. And
you take that with you into the Christmas break.
Oh man, right? You talk about Mo going into the winter. It makes you want to go to the golf course a little bit more. Work on your chipping, working on your putting, the driving range, see how far you can hit that thing. See if you can hit it to 4th Street from, the Rawls course. I bet you some of those guys can put on the parking lot of the VA or something like that over there. That'd be something. Go over there and watch some of those guys just, hit it as far as they can. Hey, see if you can hit See if you can hit UMC over there. Somebody taking their walk after hip replacement, and all of a sudden golf ball comes flying through the window. Whoa, what was that? Oh, the Tech golfers, they're at it again. They're number one in the world, so now they got to show off their arms. Okay. Mildred, don't step in the glass.
Yeah, I'm betting they don't do that.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Chuck, I thought you were going to say you dreamed that you were too sexy for your shirt. I do say that from time to time. Going, God, you're too sexy for your shirt, man. Take that thing off. But never mind. National League Championship Series is square at a game apiece. Padres rallied, and they win the ball game over the Phillies 8-5. That was kind of a must-winner for San Diego.
Don't want to drop those first two at home for certain.
Yeah. And now the I don't think the Yankees are necessarily in a must-win today, but I think it's because I think you can come back from a 2-0 deficit. It's hard. It's really, really hard. I mean, we all know that, but this is a best of 7, right? So
yeah, and the first two being on the road. It's, yeah. I think you're a little loose with your must wins.
Okay, right now I think you're probably right about that. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it is for the Yankees today. I don't think it's a must win. Mm-hmm. I thought it was maybe a must win yesterday for the Padres. I don't know that you want to go back to Philly down 2-0. I
don't think you do, but I mean,
teams have come back from that. No question about it.
Sure.
No question. But anyway.
Mm-hmm. Much easier to do it if you're going back home.
Yeah.
And obviously the Padres wouldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's a football question from the Yates Flooring Center chat line for you, Jamie. What concerns you all most about West Virginia?
Yeah, I think to me, we talked about it yesterday, it's their offense. I think they've got a pretty good passing attack, so I think they're going to challenge you in that regard, and I think they run the ball well. So, I mean, to me, it's their offense.
Yeah, and as far as what Coach McGuire said the other day, and this is, you can say this about virtually every week, but got to put a little pressure on the quarterback. The thing about JT Daniels is he's for the most part stays in the pocket, but he does have pocket presence.
Sure.
And so I think he has pocket patience too. And when you have that, your defensive backs, your safeties, they're going to have to stay disciplined because you can't let a receiver get loose, because I think JT Daniels will make you pay for it. And they've got a couple of guys that is the case. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Risa chimes in this morning. She says, "Y'all make my day." Thank you, Risa. We are glad for you, because you are the one. We are thrilled to have you. 6:23 this morning here on the morning drive. Red Raiders take on West Virginia Saturday afternoon. It's a 2:00 kickoff. Optimum Game Day live coverage presented by United Supermarkets begins at 7 a.m. Bright and early Saturday morning. We'll recap the high school stuff from the night before, which will feature among the games Coronado at Abilene High on Oldies 97.7, Lubbock Cooper at Monterey on 100.7 The Score, and Friendship hosting Odessa Permian here on Double T 97.3. There's NFL football, Week 7 already for the National Football League. This may be a must-winner. Speaking of must-wins, the Arizona Cardinals have not had the start to their season that maybe some thought what they would based on what was coming back. But some I heard discussion this morning going, well, they really haven't been favored in very many games, and they're in a situation tonight where they're hosting the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are, they're curious about their quarterback, who's going to start for them tonight. Kyler Murray, of course, will go for Coach Kingsbury's group, but it's important that they start, putting some people on some wins on the scoreboard.
DeAndre Hopkins back for this one?
I think so. Marquise Brown, they said yesterday, is out for at least a month with a left foot injury. His status beyond that is unknown, but he's out indefinitely. They traded for former Carolina Panther wide receiver Robbie Anderson. They did welcome back DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, and that's a real problem for him because that was one of Kyler Murray's big targets, and he was suspended for the first 6 games on his own behalf for violating the performance-enhancing drug policy.
I mean, one of the best receivers in the league when he's right.
So it's hard to hold, Coach Kingsbury and his group completely accountable when you got a guy on the team that's selfish and does performance-enhancing drugs and gets popped and they lose him for 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, that's kind of the way it works.
You're listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
A little bit later on tonight, we'll have the Astros and the Diamondbacks. That'll be at 8. And then the Rangers playing at Seattle tonight.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
Was it pretty big?
Yeah, I mean,
Was it impressive?
Yeah.
Was it fascinating?
It was. I thought it was fascinating. It kind of smelled, but I mean.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
Time for this day in sports history. Here is Jeff McGuire.
Going to start in 1934 because a Major League Baseball all-star team led by Connie Mack, including Babe Ruth, Jimmy Fox, and Lou Gehrig, sails for Japan for an 18-game series against Big Six University League.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sails for Japan.
Well, yeah, because, planes and stuff weren't really great across the Pacific at this point.
Right.
I mean, you could.
Hard to refuel. You stop in halfway point. It's not really a halfway point to stop.
1946, Frank Sino returns a kickoff for 105 yards and a touchdown as the Chicago Cards beat the New York Giants. 1947, radio rights for the Baseball World Series sell for $475,000 for 3 years. 1963, Jim Brown sets an NFL single-season rushing record of 1,863 yards. 1968, American Dick Fosbury, using his unconventional technique, wins the men's high jump gold medal with 2.24 meters at the Mexico City Olympics. The Fosbury flop becomes the most accepted, efficient technique going forward.
I was going to say, when his parents were in the stands watching that, Dad turned to Mom and went, well, he didn't flop. And Mom goes, well, he did. As good as I got today.
It's going to be a long show. 1973, U.S. President Nixon proclaims Jim Thorpe to have been the greatest athlete in the first half of the 20th century.
So,
Who is the best one in the second half?
Hard not to say, Bo, when you think of pure athlete of the second half of the 20th century.
I mean, his athletic accomplishments are pretty dang cool. I mean, if you were going to go that route, wouldn't you throw Dion in there?
wouldn't you throw...
I mean, who's the better two-star athlete, Bo or Dion?
Bo. Bo was a better baseball player and at least as good a football player.
No.
You think
Dion's maybe the greatest... Dion may be the greatest cover corner in the history of football. Bo was not the best running back in the history of football.
No, he wasn't.
He didn't play long enough.
He didn't play long enough. That's the the catch.
I would give you Bo as a... I think that's even tight. My vote would go for Dion. But they're both great.
Well, sure.
They're both great.
I mean, we're probably arguing over...
But I think longevity...
Oh, Dion had the longevity for sure.
Is a factor here because of Bo's injuries. Yeah.
Injury.
Yeah. I mean, that
was a big one.
That could have changed things. I think I would have to go with Dion.
I think I would have to agree with Jamie.
Okay, but I don't think
you guys can be wrong. It's
but
fine.
I don't know. I don't know that I would go with either one of them. I think I might. I mean, I think I might go Michael Jordan.
I was thinking I was thinking Michael Phelps because of his longevity, and then I was thinking of Usain Bolt as well.
Like, the thing with Phelps and Bolt, superior sprinter, superior swimmer.
Over a long period of time.
No argument. But when I think of athlete, I think of can do more than one. Phelps wasn't doing the Fosbury flop. He was just in the pool. He was just a swimmer.
Jordan played baseball, too. And
Jordan did play baseball
too.
and played a lot of golf.
What was the guy who was in the movie, The World's Greatest Athlete? Kurt, what was his name?
Kurt Wilson?
No. No, movie star.
I don't know.
It's like not married to Goldie Hawn, but they've been together forever.
Oh,
Computer that wore tennis shoes.
yeah.
That guy.
No, I know exactly.
He's the world's greatest athlete.
And I'd like to take a 30. I don't mean to offend you two, but if I'm talking about the greatest athlete of all time or over a 50-year stretch, I am not picking a swimmer.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't either.
I just threw it out there.
Yeah, well, I also threw it out there.
Greatest Olympic champion, no argument.
Sure,
But
whatever.
We're talking about different skill sets. Anyhow, moving on.
I didn't
1982.
say Bo Jackson.
Well, I'll take Bo Jackson over.
Michael Phelps?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Kurt Russell. Thank you,
Thank
Yates Morning Center chat line.
Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Have to look that up here in a minute.
I was still stuck on Kurt Wilson. So.
1982 Baseball World Series. The St. Louis Cardinals beat the Milwaukee Brewers 6-3 at Busch Stadium for a 4-3 series triumph. St. Louis catcher Darrell Porter is your MVP. Also on this day in 1982, Billy Martin is fired as the Oakland A's manager.
I think that's when he beat up the marshmallow salesman. Seriously.
Marshmallow salesman.
Yeah.
Okay.
1992, first Baseball World Series game played outside of the United States. Toronto Blue Jays beat the Atlanta Braves 3-2 in Game 3 at Skydome in Toronto, Ontario. It is National Brandied Fruit Day. Happy birthday to Snoop, who's 51.
Okay.
Easy.
Willis McGahee, 42, and Keith Hernandez is 69. And on this day actually a couple of days ago on this day in 1977, members of the rock band Aerosmith inspected an airplane that they were considering chartering for their upcoming tour. A Convair 240 operated out of Addison, Texas. There were concerns over the flight crew led Aerosmith to look somewhere else for their charter. That decision saved one band, and
it cost another one.
Doomed another one. Aircraft in question was instead chartered by the band Leonard Skinner, who were just setting out on an autumn nationwide tour that promised to be the biggest to date. On this day in 1977, however, during the flight from Greenville, South Carolina to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, their tour plane crashed in a heavily wooded area of southwestern Mississippi during a failed emergency landing attempt, killing band members Ronnie Van Zant, Steve Gaines, and Cassie Gaines, as well as the band's assistant road manager and the plane's pilot and co-pilot. 20 others survived the crash. And that is this day in sports history.
I've never heard that story.
About the Aerosmith?
About Aerosmith to Leonard Skinner. No, man, it feels like, why is that not made into a movie?
Great question. Great question.
That's a crazy story.
But it is Verdad, so it was very, very unfortunate, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, time for our secret word of the day, all right? So if you're tired of playing the national radio contest, just play ours, okay? It's really, really easy. All you have to do is listen at 6:45, 8:45, and 4:45 every single day, and we will give you a secret word, okay? And then all you have to do is go to doublet973.com. I'm looking at you telling you this like I didn't think you even knew this, but I know that you know this. This is part of your creation. So I don't know why I'm looking at you going, Jamie, if you do this, because you're not even eligible to win. But you are the fine listening public. Go to doublet973.com. The Home Zone and Double T 97.3 want to give you $10,000. We'll give you a check, and you get to shake the hand of On Highest. And go out and do whatever it is that you want to do with $10,000. They hope that you make your home a better home by shopping at the Home Zone. 645, our secret word is Astros. 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 A-S-T-R-O-S. Astros. Really, really, really easy. The Astros won last night over the New York Yankees. They will play again today. Okay?
They will.
Astros, our secret word of the day here at 6:51. The marshmallow salesman that Billy Martin beat up, that led to his dismissal of the New York Yankees in 1979. And then the Oakland A's hired him and then promptly fired him, on this day in 1982. Okay, so.
It's fun.
His punch of the marshmallow salesman reportedly required stitches of up to 15 to 20 to close a cut lip. Goodness. Oh, my gosh.
That's a lot of stitches for a lip.
That's a lot of stitches for a lip. So, that's just one of Billy Martin's many transgressions. 6:55 this morning. Excuse me. Here on the Morning Drive. SportsCenter is next, and we'll continue our discussion of Texas Tech football. I've got a very interesting stat from the West Virginia numbers.
All right.
To throw at you that could provide a problem, or it could provide a solution to Saturday's game.
Your morning blend of sports.
K-State is coming off a big win over Oklahoma. Of course, the Red Raiders off their 37-34 overtime win over number 22 Texas.
And humor.
Sure to tell them that. You suggested that. And, of course, they got a big laugh.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
You can chime in, too, on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. It'll be interesting to see this Graham Harrell offense that comes into town for West Virginia, and what he has done, his tweaks of it. Coach Joey McGuire the other day was asked about the former Texas Tech quarterback, who's now the West Virginia offensive coordinator, in terms of how big can Graham be for an offense as a coach.
Yeah, I think it's big, whenever you have a guy like Graham that, played at such a high level. The thing more than anything of playing the position, he's a coach's kid, he's a coach's kid of one of the greatest high school coaches, I think, in the nation, that has a fingerprint on a lot of stuff that people were doing, and he was doing it Sam Harrell was doing it long before anybody else was. So I think growing up like that, I still, I know Graham very well. Sam's one of my mentors. I still remember Graham, whenever he's in middle school and he's throwing, fade balls into a bucket whenever we'd come over and play 7-on-7 against Ennis. I mean, his 8th grade year, he won our 7-on-7 tournament with the varsity football team, and he's in 8th grade and he's the quarterback, and so he's just got a great understanding for the game and does a really good job. Has a really good demeanor, I think, about calling the game. Doesn't get too high or too low, and just he's been a guy. He did it at North Texas, did it at USC, and he's doing it at West Virginia. That was a really big pickup for Coach Brown, getting him as the OC.
You kind of think about it, when you go from Cliff Kingsbury and that run of quarterbacks that you had that included Graham Harrell over those years. B.J. Simmons was not level-headed. He had some emotion to him, but the other guys, Cody Hodges, Graham Harrell, Kingsbury, they all had a very similar demeanor about them. So probably not a surprise that Harrell has become a coach. Like Coach McGuire said, he's a coach's kid, and probably is a good fit for Neil Brown. Couple other things here from basically the press conference the other day. Tim DeRuyter was asked about the quarterback that they're going to face, JT Daniels. He's so far this year, Jamie, 139 of 218. He has thrown 3 interceptions. He's thrown for 1,492 yards, 9 touchdowns. His longest has been 67. He was asked about, does facing a quarterback that wants to throw help the pass rush, because this is not a guy that's going to scramble like what we've seen with, K-State or Oklahoma State, and and what you'll see with TCU?
Well, I think anytime you're dealing with a mobile quarterback, it becomes a concern for your guys. But they've done a nice job protecting JT. The teams that have pressured him, I think, have thrown him off a little bit. We've got to mix our pressures, but they've got some threats on the outside in particular that one-on-one situations win their share of 50-50 balls or more than their share of 50-50 balls. So you got to be concerned with that and mix your pressures along with getting good pressure out of our 4 down front, and hopefully we'll be able to do that on Saturday.
Probably of greater concern, or as great a concern, is that not only to JT Daniels, but the guys that he's throwing the ball to, Bryce Ford Wheaton and Caden Prather. Wheaton has 40 grabs, 463 yards, 4 touchdowns. Longest was 67. And Prather has 36 for 369 yards and has 3 touchdowns. And then Sam Jones, he's caught 23 balls for 357, and his longest was 459. So they had the ability to get explosive plays. And here's Tim DeRuyter on the wide receivers that posed a problem for West Virginia.
Well, Zero for them, he's a big guy. Both their outside receivers are big, long players. They're vertical threats. They can use their body on 50-50 throws. And, I like our matchups with our 2 corners. I think they've been doing a pretty good job on, particularly on vertical shots. We've taken a lot of them. But that's a concern because you see him go up and make plays on just about everybody. I think, JT does a really nice job of throwing the ball over underneath coverage, and they got guys that can go up, with their length and their jumping ability to go up and get it. So that's a concern. They do a really nice job in their screen game, and it's something we've worked on during our bye week because we didn't fit some screens as well as we should have. But between the 2 of those, it's a concern. You want to rush the passer, then they're getting the ball out on screens and draws. If you don't get to the quarterback, the shots are coming.
So 0 is Bryce Ford Wheaton. He's a redshirt junior. He's 6'3", 224. And 3 is Caden Prather. He is a 6'4", 211-pound sophomore. So obviously he talked about the length there, and you see it.
Prather is the one that seems like he makes the most plays in the games that I've watched.
Okay.
Especially near the goal line.
Okay. The Red Raiders are expected to have more out of Adrian Fry this week, so we'll see how much that helps. And then they're really high on Tyler Owens as well. I mean, he's come in and really done a nice job for him.
I thought he played well last week, last game. Yeah.
So there's a couple things on that. One last thing from Coach Tim DeRuyter, and I think this is just it seems like it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. But he talks about the depth of the front 7 his depth of the front 7 on the defensive line, and what that has helped and how that has helped the Red Raiders.
Yeah, I think Tyreek and Jake are doing a really nice job. The more we're putting them out, the more confidence they're playing with. And both of them bring some things to the table. And so, I think the more they play, the fresher we can be, with Krishan, and with Kosai. If you can play with 4 guys there, it really helps you. We played 90 whatever snaps the other day. If you got to play all 90 of them, that's a tough order. But if you can, maybe get 20 or 30 out of those other guys, now it's much more reasonable. You can be fresher in the 4th quarter. Same thing up front. Miles Cole's coming on. Vidal's, I think, done a nice job for us. And I'm trying to think who else we got there. Joseph has really come on up front. So, to see him come on has been a real nice plus for us because he's got a bright future ahead of him. And, we got to get Tyree out of there at times, and he's done a nice job being able to spell him.
That's Texas Tech defensive coordinator Tim DeRuyter. Just in listening to him, and he's an older guy, he's experienced. He's been head coach before at Fresno State, and came to Tech from Oregon, and just obviously spent some time at A&M too. You have to think that experience that he brings from all those places, and coupled with inheriting a better defense than most of our new defensive coordinators have inherited, you have to think that has really helped this defense get better. And I'm not saying that they're great or that they've solved all the problems of the world. They seem to cause you less problems than previous defenses here.
Well, I think that's fair to say.
I think that they have filled some holes, and it's just nice to hear that they've got backups that can come in and have and spell the quality guys so that they can be fresh at the end of the game.
Yeah, and the previous staff probably deserves a little bit of credit for that as well. But I think Coach DeRuyter does, with his experience, that really helps. But I think he's taken them to a new level with the players that you had and the new ones you've added to the mix as well.
Yeah. All right, 7:24 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Got a couple of more things. One that I think that you're going to be very, very interested in from Coach McGuire about fielding punts and where they are supposed to have their heels on the line, so to speak. Okay, I think you'll hit the desk and go salute, right? And then Coach Zach Kitley compares, not that he's comparing him, but he was asked about this, Baron Morton and Patrick Mahomes on being a gunslinger and being told to just go ball. So we'll get Coach Kitley's thoughts on that as well this morning here on the Morning Drive. But first, Jamie's question of the day. That is next on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com.
Your morning dose of coffee and sports. This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is presented by Bizarre Solutions. Call them today for a free cybersecurity audit.
7:31 this morning on the Morning Drive. Your question, sir.
All right, we're going to flip over to Red Raider basketball for this question. We saw the preseason poll come out this week. We saw the preseason projections as far as the Big 12 Conference goes. We saw that come out as well. Red Raiders were picked to finish tied for 5th. In front of them was Kansas, Baylor, Texas, TCU. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I want
Baylor was the one that was picked to
Baylor
win
was
it.
first. Yeah. I wasn't. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to try to put those in order.
No,
I was just throwing them out there.
Okay.
So my question for you today is: which team do you think has the potential for the Red Raiders to leapfrog and be up closer to the top of the conference, or maybe even be on top of the conference? Which team are you not as sold on?
I'm not as sold on TCU.
TCU.
I'm not as sold on TCU. I'm also not just completely sold on Oklahoma State. I mean, they listed Tech tied for 5th, with Oklahoma State. I think over test of time, we would have to acknowledge that Kansas and Baylor have done a pretty good job of, if they're projected to finish high in the Big 12, that they generally have done that for the last few years. I'm not sure that Texas has earned that street cred yet, because they've been, up and down, so to speak. Now, obviously, coaching change and having a new coach, 1 year in, it seems like he has reloaded, but you did beat him twice last year. And granted, everybody flips their roster every year, so it's really hard to say what, kind of what you have and what they have and what's the difference between them and you, specifically. So I'm going to say TCU is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say Oklahoma State because I think you'll finish above both those two.
Okay.
I would love to say Texas, but Chris Beard, unfortunately, and I can't believe I'm saying this, knows how to coach basketball and knows how to get guys to perform. We've seen it here in person. And he knows how to turn the roster over and get it ready, especially in his second year. TCU is the one I kind of went, interesting. It feels cheap that they're the next one up since you're tied with Oklahoma State to say that that's the one you can leapfrog. I don't know that one spot is a leapfrog, but I don't think you're leapfrogging the defending national champions or the team that's picked to win the Big 12 over the national champions. So I guess by default it's TCU.
Okay, I think I'm going with Texas. I mean, if you guys remember back to last year, that team was in disarray for a while there, and there were some guys that left that weren't happy. I just think that you're going to continue to see that with Chris Beard style or Chris Beard coach teams.
Well, I think you could say. I think saying style is important in terms of how he works them.
Yeah, just how I don't know that it's about them practicing too hard or whatever. I just don't know that I think that you've seen guys get there and maybe don't like the personality. Okay. And so I just wonder how, like, bring the Hunter kid into the mix, how that chemistry is all going to work there. So I feel like they're the team that, while I think they're an extremely talented team, they're the team I think has the potential to kind of self-destruct a little bit because of chemistry issues. And I think Beard is 100% a part of that.
Okay.
Yeah. I get the TCU part of it, though, just because, I mean, if you're going off of, previous years, I mean, TCU hasn't been that team, but, I mean, they've got the Conference Player of the Year. They've got a really impressive big. I think it's their recruiting class this past year was good. So I think TCU is trending in the right direction, but have they made that much of a jump? I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, no, and it's just to some degree it's so hard to tell because of how much churn there is in basketball. And then,
yeah, no doubt.
And let's face it, I mean, we got our own churn here. I mean, but
no doubt we've become the masters at it.
We have.
Well, maybe masters is not fair, but we've become pretty good at it.
And we've become accustomed to it as well. So you kind of look at this. I'm just at a point. I'm just not there yet in terms of this team being able to just give you a feel. Feel really good about Kevin O'Banner coming back. You've got, this Pops Isaacs that everybody's just in love with. Your two big fellas. I'm really curious about the development of Daniel Bacho. And then Vardar Zamak, how long is he out? What kind of impact is that on your team? So, and what does Davion Harmon bring to your ball club? All those things, and how does that all? And then the other thing is, I'm real curious about Jalen Tyson. He's the kid from Texas who left there and came here at semester.
Well, it feels like the guy that's getting the most hype right now is Elijah Fisher, 5-star recruit that looks like he feels like he's going to be penciled in as a starter. And heard reports yesterday that his defense is really impressive as well. So that's a guy that I think has the potential to be a game changer for you.
Okay.
Adding him to the mix.
Okay. Well, it's coming up fast and furious. I mean, they're into the secret games right now. The women have a secret game this weekend. The men had their secret game, and then
the men had one already.
I think the men had one already against Tulsa, and the women have one on Sunday.
Fun.
They're going to go to Area 51 to play this game.
Good.
You know where that is?
It's where the aliens are.
Right. Yeah. So keep everybody. It's that secret.
I don't know if he's making a joke or if he's being serious. I just nod and move on.
Well, it's not a it's not one that anybody can attend but the coaches and the support staffs.
Right.
So that's why it's a secret game. I was trying to be funny with the Area 51 deal because it's going to be in Roswell.
Okay.
Like I said, going to be a long show.
We'll be here all week.
You just got to worry about me one more day, and then you get a bit of a respite. You don't have to worry about. You get me just for an hour on Saturday, and then I promise I'm not going to come sit next to you at the football game. Okay, you do not have to worry about that. So
Right, but then I get you for another, say, 40 minutes or so for the post-game show.
yeah, I get you too. But it's all good. It's all good. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I hope you're all right, Jamie, with regard to Texas. It is amazing that he had Coach Adams with every success. TCU is good, but give the Dell his due. Texas Tech history should show Texas Tech in the mix with Baylor and Kansas. We have outperformed preseason ranks every year since Keenan Evans. Certainly cannot be arrogant in this Big 12.
Oh, man, you can't because there's just so many talented teams.
Bullfighter wants me to leave the dad jokes to the other guys. Yeah, I wasn't even trying to make a dad joke. But yeah, I'll leave it to somebody else.
Well, the problem is my joke reading. I missed the part where I'm supposed to laugh. We need one of those people that holds the sign up for the studio audience to laugh. But
for this show,
then we'll know it's a joke.
Okay.
You didn't miss it, Jamie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
told you yesterday.
I couldn't tell if you were being serious or not.
I'm a terrible joke teller. But I don't. It is going to be in Roswell.
Getting your sports day started the right way. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, breaking down the biggest games.
If Texas Tech does not win the Big 12 football conference, who are you rooting for to win the conference if Tech does not win it this year?
Well, busting some chops along the way.
I hold back on sending you stuff. I mean, I'm very, very, very judicious.
We spend 3 hours a day, 5 days a week
I know.
together. Why would we need to communicate during the weekends?
Right.
Save it for the show.
We do. We save it for the show.
Tune into the Morning Drive live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
I took a lot of drugs this morning, so
I'm all up in that, homie.
I may get higher by Friday.
The Morning Drive on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com.
Hey, good morning. It's the Morning Drive on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3. Kirk reminds me, Big Lou is who I was thinking of. Big Lou, I'm on meds too. He's the guy that's selling the long-term insurance.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You hear Big Lou every once in a while.
Okay. Well,
It's almost time for a Big Lou commercial.
I hope the meds helped Big Lou. I'm hoping the same thing for you as well. Hope the meds help out.
I took him this morning. I don't know. Maybe I need a stronger dose.
Maybe change the order tomorrow.
Change the order tomorroh.
Or the dosage or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe not take them with a, fifth of whiskey.
Fifth of whiskey. Oh man, I don't think I've ever. I know that I've never done this show, inebriated. So I know that comes to some shock to some of you because you think that there's something in my coffee, but there's not. Okay. Homecoming festivities. Homecoming this weekend. I know that you know that. Mm-hmm. Today is today's the bummer day. It's the Texan Memorial, 5:30 at Memorial Circle. Okay, Student Union Building. So anyway, tomorrow is the Rowdy Raider Rally at 11:30 at the Red Raider Plaza, and then weather permitting, and I think we're going to have a beautiful day for a homecoming parade tomorrow night. Okay?
Good. Awesome.
6 o'clock, palms, band, cheer, floats, fraternity, sorority, all that kind of stuff. That'll be tomorrow. And then the pep rally and bonfire is tomorrow night at Urbanovsky Park, weather permitting. Again, everything's weather permitting, but it'll all be all right. Okay. I think Saturday's going to be a beautiful day, too.
I think after the parade, you should cruise over to baseball. They're having a scrimmage tomorrow night. I think it doesn't start till 7:30.
Nice.
right after the parade, that'd be perfect.
Can we snuggle up next to you and pick your brain for knowledge?
You're not going to be there. I don't even have to worry about it.
No, I'm not going to make it. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it. I promised this to you because it's been a little bit of a question mark, I think, this year with regard to the Red Raiders and punt receiving and even kickoff receiving. But here's Coach Joey McGuire on punt returns and their policy on when to let it go and when to catch it.
Oh, yeah, don't make that choice. I think I said it last week, but, and that's the entire team. We made some choices that that's not a choice to make. That should not be a fielded punt, and you go out on the field and you know that, and whether the moment or whatever you see, you do it. That's something that we don't want to do. We want to put our heels anywhere from the 8 to 10 yard line, and if it goes over our head, then we want to take the chance that ball is going to go in the end zone. Because whether it's at the 2 yard line or the 5 yard line, you're still in a bad situation for your offense, and we don't want to put our guys there. So we got to make the choices and the decisions. We got to do a better job, with that.
So that was about taking the ball on a punt inside the 5 yard line, like what happened last week. So there you have it. Heels on the 8 to 10, and if it's there, if it's going to be inside of that, take your chances on letting it go into the end zone.
Yeah, it seems like that's everybody's policy. You just got to make sure the players are executing that.
And maybe it's that last little reminder. Hey, Joey, remember, heels on the 8, okay? It's just sometimes it's hard to and I think it's another one of those things where easier said than done sometimes, because you get there and you get in the moment and you see it coming down, you kind of forget where you are. You got somebody barreling down on you, and you're trying to concentrate on catching the ball. And
I think you also have to. I don't know that it's as simple as that. Maybe Coach McGuire could correct me, but okay, in my opinion, if it's if it's one that's trajectory is extremely high,
mm-hmm.
and they've got men down there that looks like that they have an opportunity, if because of the way the trajectory is coming down, that this thing could bounce high in the air and they would be there to down it at the 2 or whatever, then yeah, call the fair catch at the 8, call the fair catch at the 10,
mm-hmm.
whatever. But I think the issue that probably everybody's noticed last week in the Oklahoma State game is not only did you back up to the 5 yard line, but it was a line drive kick. That thing was going to bounce one time and probably go to the back wall. Okay, this was not one that was going to get downed behind you. So, you really didn't read the kick. You didn't read the fact that there was nobody there to down it. If you let it bounce, it was going to bounce through. And then you also didn't read where you were on the field. So that was, a complete meltdown in that regard.
Yeah. I want, and this is a random thought that's just gone through my head. Okay, so it's not been vetted. Okay, so just kind of brace yourself here for an opinion that you might go, that's kind of like flat bases, Chuck. I wonder if these football fields today, the new ones, with all the crushed up rubber and the grass and how it is, it seems like we're seeing more and more balls check up when they land than we have previously. In other words, previously with, whether it's grass, with the old artificial turf, man, that thing, it was like...
It was harder,
yeah,
so it would probably continue that way.
This new, type of turf that they've been... And it's not like brand new technology. They've been doing this for about the last, 10, 15 years. And they water these fields still because they have to keep the rubber kind of from getting too hard and brittle. I just wonder if some of these fields, when they put them in, if some fields are more prone to being, if the ball will check up. And I'm not saying they're doing it intentionally or anything like that, but it just seems like we're seeing more of these balls that just kind of land, and it's almost like they stick it like a gymnast does.
I think that makes sense, that balls would be more likely for them to not bounce and bounce through the back just because the ground's not as the surface is not as hard that you're playing on. But I feel like they were way better at it back in the day of getting balls downed inside the 10-yard line. So I just thought the punters were more accurate.
Okay.
I think punters have bigger legs now, but I don't think they have the accuracy.
Okay.
Ability to say, hey, I'm at midfield. I can put this thing, I can make it bounce at the 10 and have them down at the 4.
The old coffin corner kind of deal.
Yeah.
Too.
I don't know that guys are that as skilled anymore. I have no research behind that. I just feel like in the past they used to see them get downed more. Now, not as much.
Somebody says this. Oh no, Chuck! It is all technique. Well, maybe I don't know. Your ability to what athletes have the ability to do with in their particular sport. When you kind of see how a baseball player can handle a bat, or how a golfer can handle a club, and what they can do with things when they're just kind of, because they practice so much.
Sure.
So it would not surprise me if a kicker said, oh yeah, if nobody's coming at me and we're just doing this in practice, yeah, I can kick a ball in a bucket or whatever.
Well, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to get again, I could be wrong here. They're trying to get the nose of the football to hit where it's going to push back rather than go forward. And I think there's a skill to that.
Yeah.
There's a skill to that. There's a technique to that that I could never in my wildest imagination figure out. I think there's some skill there. But, it's just science. If you're playing on blacktop, the ball's going to bounce higher and more likely to roll farther compared to playing on a turf that's softer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you comparing it to the old artificial surfaces, it probably is easier for them to get it to slow down a little bit, check up.
This from the Yates Flooring Center's chat line. But there are some cases where the ball does stick. For example, Tech's turf is really short, shaved looking. Other places could have longer turf, but it's also a ton of technique. For instance, and I've not been on the turf at the new ballpark in Arlington, but it sure looks like that grass is longer than some places. That artificial grass is longer than some places.
Yeah, teams definitely adjust the grass based on their pitching staff and all that kind of stuff.
And sometimes...
Or their team, the way they hit, if they're, put the ball on the ground on a bunch or
water,
whatever.
If the infield dirt is real dirt, water the dirt a little bit more, depending on, they let the grass grow. They used to let the grass grow a little bit longer if it was a ground ball pitcher, things along those lines. Somebody says, thank you for this, Chick. Tell Chuck the technology has changed 3 or 4 times in the last 15 years. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.